a lot of people my age lack, like the power of tongue is extremely, extremely important to know, because I think that people don't realize if you're speaking something into your life, I think everybody gets sad and everybody gets depressed, but if you're constantly speaking about how depressed you are and you're constantly thinking about how depressed you are, how do you expect to ever overcome that depression?
I agree.
It's not going to happen. And it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult, but you need to catch your thoughts captive and you need to shift the thought. So if you're like, oh, I'm having such a bad day today, maybe my day started off bad, but I'm going to go and I'm going to change it. It's like that shift is extremely important for people to understand and to learn at a young age. Some people don't learn that till they're like
Some people don't learn it ever,
their whole life,
which is crazy.
Yeah. Like I felt like decision paralysis, I would say. Like I knew I had things to do. I couldn't figure out what to start with. And I was realizing I was extremely, extremely overwhelmed, but I was waking up the next day and I was trying to get the work done that I knew I needed to get done. And I was like, I need to like get up, go to the gym, eat better, watch things that encourage me, and
that's another big one.
And stop watching the news and things on my, like, once you recognize that like literally what you feed yourself is extremely important physically, mentally, like in all, spiritually, like you need to feed,
and then feeding your brain too with what you're watching, listening to,
and that makes a bigger impact than people even think.
Absolutely. It's like people just look at things and don't expect it to affect the way that they feel. Ladies and gentlemen, Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Port City Pods. Today in the studio, we have a real special guest that I am super, super excited. I've been waiting for this podcast for quite a while because her and I have been working together for about 3 years now, but she's been in real estate going on 4 years, and she has been making waves in the industry. She's been on the eXp top 10 list, and for those that don't know, the top 10 is out of hundreds of agents here in the province. So that is a huge, huge accomplishment. She is making waves. I'm super excited to get into this podcast because she's going to be a wealth of information. Ladies and gentlemen, Madisyn Barkhouse.
Hey.
How's it going, Madisyn? Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
You are very, very welcome. So start off, I like to ask everybody, tell us a little bit about yourself, Maddie. Who is Madisyn Barkhouse and what got you into real estate?
Okay, so I was not planning to be in real estate whatsoever. I was going to school to be a dentist, and I was doing it for the money for the most part. I wanted to make a decent amount of money when I got older.
Absolutely,
When I went to school, I realized I was learning nothing about dentistry, and it was not of any interest to me. So with my first year and a half, I realized that I didn't think I could do another 8 years of it.
Is that how long
become
it is?
a dentist.
8 years?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would have gotten out of school when I was 26.
So you did 1 year in dentistry?
No, I studied a Bachelor of Science at UMBSJ.
Okay.
And I did that like a biopsych degree for about a year and a half. The psychology part was interesting to me, but everything else was of zero interest to me.
See, this is why I love doing podcasts. I don't think I knew this about you.
Really? Yeah, I don't tell many people.
That is
because
awesome.
I'm a dropout.
No, but that's just figuring out what's right. You pivoted quick.
Yeah.
That's a strength, just knowing that this isn't for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where a lot of people just go, well, I'm not enjoying this, and I'm going to ride this out for 8 years and be miserable while I'm doing it, and bring everybody else down while I'm in my misery.
Yeah, and as soon as I realized, when I did the math and realized I was going to get out of school at 26, and I would have been in an immense amount of debt after going to dentistry school and after doing my undergrad degree. The amount of money that I would be making at the time that I'm 26, most of it would be going to paying debt anyway.
Yeah.
So,
almost like a lawyer, kind of.
Yeah. So my mom,
or doctor, I suppose. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So my mom had gotten into the business like a couple years prior when I was in university. I think maybe 2 or 3 years before I had gone to university.
Yeah.
So I saw her in the business. I saw that it was difficult, and I saw that she struggled to make ends meet sometime. Like, I saw how tough the real estate business was, but she loved it. And my whole childhood, she wasn't really home always at dinner time to like have dinner with us. And now that she was in real estate, like, she had the time to like be with family.
Awesome.
And that's extremely important to me. So I decided that I would try to do real estate. So I started studying and dropped out and took my real estate license, got into the business, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Because you've come in and done extremely well, and doing it in a way that's very authentic to you too. Mm-hmm. With finding clients through social media, branding yourself, and like I said, making the top 10 list for hundreds of agents in the province is a huge milestone and accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen by accident. That, you don't just stumble on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a huge accomplishment. And your mom as well was in on the podcast.
Yes.
So that's just super cool to hear. And her and I started real estate right around the same time.
Yeah,
actually,
I think so.
At Keller Williams.
Yeah.
And I remember, her and I were both kind of sharpening our teeth right around the same time together in the industry. And you're right, because it's not easy, right? A lot of people see real estate and they see the sold posts, and they'll see all the flashy things, the fun things that we're doing to market and to brand ourselves. But what agents aren't sharing is all of the tough conversations, the tough nights that we're solving problems for our clients. And it's very high risk, very important problems. It's like if this doesn't get solved, there's a major impact to somebody's life.
Yes.
So it's not taken lightly, right? And it's like we need to navigate these complex situations that also come with complex emotions with them. And then we need to be able to separate that and then find solutions for our clients.
Absolutely.
And it's not easy. So it's cool that you got to see from your perspective, your mom coming in and then having the success as well.
Yes.
But then seeing how it provided a better lifestyle for her is actually like really powerful.
Like it was a completely different lifestyle for her, because she was always running around working, and like now with real estate, she's running around working, but she can compartmentalize her time from family and business. But what people don't realize, like what you said, is we're not just real estate agents. We work so many different jobs. We're managing our social media. We're content creating. We're therapists. We're real estate agents. We're dealing with so many other things. So people from the outside perspective think that it's all lavish, like, oh, real estate agents make all this money and they sell all these houses. It is not that lavish. Like, in the background, it's great. I love it. But there's a lot to it that people don't understand.
And the agents that are doing well, it's not by accident. The agents that are doing well, they have structure in their business. They're marketing. They're standing out. They're doing something that is allowing them to succeed in an industry that has a very low success rate.
Yes,
a very low success rate. So you're coming right up to this milestone. After 5 years, they say 9 out of 10 agents that started the business within 5 years will fail.
I have heard that.
9 out of 10 within 5 years.
I think mindset's extremely important when it comes to real estate.
100%.
Extremely important. If your mindset's not there, you will lack in your business in so many different ways. Like, for me, dropping out of university, it wasn't an option to fail. I had no education to fall back on. So I don't care how hard it gets. It's like, you got to keep pushing. And it does get hard. Like, it gets tough. And mentally, like, you run your own business. Yeah. If you are working for somebody else, you have somebody leading you. You have somebody telling you what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do it. In real estate, you are that person for yourself. So it does get difficult sometimes.
And that's a very good point, is that people don't look at it that way, but we are our own business owners. And even, I know some agents that are at other brokerages that don't even seem to have that mindset, right? They almost seem to think that they're just like a salesperson or they work for their broker.
Yes.
Kind of, and they're almost taking guidance from the broker on what they should be doing. And if you need that, that's fine. If you need that, that's fine. And if it's working for you, that's fine. But at the end of the day, we're our own independent business owners.
Yeah.
And our broker holds our license to be able to transact. However, we need to be the ones that are finding the leads, that are nurturing those leads, that are finding properties for our clients, that are finding ways to market, that are staying ahead of all these things, building our own brand, that are managing our own money, doing our marketing, finding other people, whether we need to hire them or do things ourselves, transaction coordinating, real estate law, understanding the contracts. Like there is a boatload of stuff that you don't even really learn when you write your real estate license.
You don't learn
That's
it at
the
all.
other thing. The only thing that you actually learn is the real estate law.
Yes.
That's like you learn how to write a contract and you learn how to do it well and you learn how to navigate a contract so that you keep yourself from trouble pretty well. Like it's like you're going to learn enough so that hopefully that you can navigate this complex business and not get sued.
Yes.
Is more or less what the real estate course from a simplistic analysis teaches you. It doesn't teach you how to market. It doesn't teach you how to brand. It doesn't teach you how to find clients. It doesn't teach you how to do any of that.
It's a learn as you go job.
And absolutely.
You have to work in the business to understand the business.
And the other crazy part is the industry is always changing.
Always. Yeah. But that's what I love about it.
Me too.
Because I never get bored.
Me too. It's almost
I get bored easy.
Sometimes I think this business almost attracts like an ADHD type of personality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where because like people like a lot of agents love talking. So they're just like hyper, what's the word I'm looking for?
Like fixated?
No, like just like an not introvert, extrovert. So they're hyper extroverts.
Yes.
Right? So they're very like they want to go out and talk to people like most times.
Yeah.
Now there's certain agents that maybe aren't like that.
Yeah.
And their strengths are elsewhere, but they may hire somebody else or bring somebody else in. And that's the really cool part about this is that we get to build this business the way that works for us.
Yes.
Right? So like for me, I've always enjoyed the marketing aspect. I was kind of playing around with social media even before I got into real estate. I was a commercial diver and I was in the military, but I was playing
I didn't know you were a commercial diver.
Yeah, see, isn't this cool?
I had no idea.
Yeah. So I was a commercial diver for a little while. I was going to school in Holland College, and while I was doing that, I was watching Gary Vaynerchuk business videos on how to market.
Really?
And I started using Snapchat back in the day, and I would make Snapchat stories about what I was doing at commercial diving school in PEI. So every morning I had a little intro. I had this little intro. It was like a little Bob Marley song and it had the sun coming up and it was like Brandon Vincent's like day or whatever. But I made a vlog out of it. Yeah. And then the stuff we were doing was kind of cool too, because we're like doing things that most people don't get to see, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Like underwater welding, and we were just kind of like doing all these, like working with all the dive equipment that we have in the Kirby Morgan helmets and all the dive equipment and all this really just interesting stuff. Yeah. So I was posting about that, but it's almost like I knew that I wanted to get into business and I knew that this was going to be a skill that was going to be important. I could kind of see the writing on the wall.
When you say get into business, you knew you wanted to get into real estate at the time?
Not real estate, no.
You weren't sure what?
I knew I wanted to do something that didn't, where I could be the boss. Yeah. I knew I wanted to take control of my life in that way because I was coming from a military background as well, where it gave me such a foundational kind of like footprint for who I was. It taught me discipline. It taught me organization. It taught me like respecting authority. It taught me camaraderie. It taught me leadership. It taught me how far I can push my body in like extreme situations. It taught me how to manage stress. It taught me how to take care of myself, shining my boots, making my bed, cutting my hair, shaving every morning. Yeah. I'm not in the military anymore.
Clearly.
But it taught me all these things at a very young age. And then it kind of came to a point doing that for about 10 years. I was like, okay, I feel like I've been controlled so much that I wanted this autonomy back for myself. I kind of wanted, I'm like, I want to have control of my life. And then in the military too, if you're reg force, you're being posted, you don't really get much of a say. They're like, hey, you're going here for this amount of time. You get to like choose a couple different options, but then they'll ultimately pick where you're being posted.
So you wanted more stability.
Right. So then I'm going, I want some more control. And I've always known that. Now also too, I've always looked up to entrepreneurs as kind of role models in my life. My mom was, and always has been, an entrepreneur as long as I can remember. She started off like working at a bank, but then she got her massage therapy license, and then she started doing massaging literally out of the house. She grew that to a clinic. She started to bring in other massage therapists. So I always admired that, where she was her own business owner, and then I worked at On the Vine, Sean Fillmore, he was my boss. So then you always, you kind of look up to your boss at the time. I was like, he'd walk in and everybody freaking starts moving quicker and stuff. And I'm like, there's something, like, I don't know what this is, but that's a cool thing. Like everybody wants to like be on like good behavior around him or whatever. So like I looked up to him for that reason. So then I always just kind of held, and then I even worked, as a welder out in Halifax for another but a small business owner in a welding company. I don't know why I said young, but Dan McKim, great guy. I worked in his business for a while, and he was also an entrepreneur as well, welder at heart, but he started his own business when I knew him, and it was just very admirable to be around these people, and they were very inspirational. They were very hardworking, and I always admired that aspect of entrepreneurs, and I always knew that that's what I wanted to kind of like push towards.
And all of the qualities you would have learned, everything you just listed off from the military, set you up almost perfectly to be an entrepreneur.
Definitely helped. It definitely helped.
Because like discipline's extremely important.
Discipline, relentless drive, not like having a mission and then going unwaveringly, this has to get done. It doesn't matter how. I mean, yes, it does matter how, but like if there's complications that come, which there's going to be, you're still getting the mission done. You don't go, okay, no, it's too hard, so we're not doing it. That's not an option.
No.
So it's just things get done one way or another. And I think that was great. And so definitely a lot of like foundational things have definitely helped me to be a better entrepreneur for sure. And I think back to everything that I've done going, I'm very glad I did all those things. And like another thing that I did that I loved that you may or may not know was I was in acting as well when I was young.
What?
Yeah, I was in multiple plays when I was younger.
Like in school?
So I did school acting, but then I also did, hello? Are we still on? Yeah, okay. So then I did acting, and then so in school plays, but I was in something called Interaction Theater Company, and so then I was in multiple plays at the Imperial Theater. But then I got out of it in middle school because I thought it was uncool to be an actor, and I thought that
I think being an actor is pretty freaking cool.
I think it is now too.
I would love to be an actor.
But then at the time I was going, I was starting to hang out with my skateboarding friends, and I was getting that kind of like a rebellious bone to me. So it wasn't
cool to them.
And I'm going, this isn't cool anymore. Play and pretend isn't cool. I'm going to start skateboarding and being a little bit of a rebel. And that also taught me a lot. That taught me a lot of street smarts, which I think are very beneficial even in business as well. Extremely important. And learning like psychology and just being around a couple like loose cannons.
Well, being in this business, you're surrounded by so many different kinds of people too. You really get a good sense of people.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Just through body language, through how they speak, how they present themselves. Like you get a really good understanding of people.
100%, which is very important. Because as we're communicating, we need to know how what we're saying is being received. Right? And it's like, are they understanding what I'm saying? Are they in agreement with what I'm saying? Do I need to clarify this point? Do I, are they uncomfortable with this? Do I need to make sure that, and some people might just nod because, maybe they're too nervous to say they don't understand something, but like picking up on that, then you build even a better relationship with them where they're like, oh, they knew I'm not understanding it. And they're not looking to just say things to say things. They actually want me to understand. So then it's like building the relationship with them too. So there's a lot of aspects of that are super, super important.
Even just like understanding their personality, like you'll learn how to adapt to them specifically and know exactly what they're looking for. Some people, they might not need you to lead them through a lot of the direction of selling a house, but some people need updates often. You just really
and then understand the different personality types. And psychology is another huge one. That was another thing that I learned right before I left the military. Was it's actually kind of it's a very odd thing to say, but it was a psyops, which is It's your psychological operations. So
Okay.
learning how to achieve a mission without firing bullets pretty well, more or less.
Okay.
Is something that the military taught me. And what that was, it was a course in Kingston, Ontario. It was about a 3-week course where they found reservists because they wanted specifically reservists because the job of a PSYOPs is to kind of like go in and work with the community of that area to achieve. So let's say, for example, to achieve like a military mission, we needed to build a road in a certain spot so that we could get equipment through, and that road currently didn't exist. We'd have to go in, find the leaders of that community, and find a way to like help them by building this road, like find like almost like convince them that this is going to be good for them in a way.
Yeah.
Which is a very weird thing to kind of do. But what the whole study of this course did was help me understand psychology. And then once I understood psychology a little bit better, then coming into real estate, I found that was very helpful. But what I had to learn too, though, was a really weird thing because I'm going, there's almost a piece of manipulation involved with this.
Yeah, there is.
That I needed to like learn to not do. So then that was a weird thing for a little while because I'm going, I got trained in PSYOP, so I want to make sure I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But then now I got this like weird filter going on in the back of my head going, I want to make sure. And then what I found was I was just overthinking it. I was overthinking it, but like I got nervous for a little while when I first started going like, I want to make sure
accidentally manipulate.
I don't want to manipulate.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, some people do it willingly. Some people manipulate willingly.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Some people know what they're doing, right? And then some people just learn it from let's say like parental behavior and stuff too. And
a lot of people learn it from parental behavior.
100%. And a lot of that just is learned behavior. So at least for me, I'm like, okay, I know what, like manipulation is, but it also stops you from being manipulated as well, which I think is very important. So then understanding manipulation helps you navigate through it, or when someone's trying to do it to you, which is very important as a real estate agent, so that you can't be taken advantage of by other real estate agents as well.
Even clients, sometimes they make it seem like they're out looking to buy things and do all this stuff.
So then reading.
And it's not even, especially as a woman, I've had people reach out and say that they want to see a house and they want to buy real estate and they want to do all these things. And then it turns into them not actually wanting to buy a house and just wanting
to like be friends, just hang out with
to
you.
To get close to me.
Right, right.
So that definitely helps with recognizing that from the very start. Like I think at the beginning I was almost too nice.
Absolutely.
And
I did the same thing.
I was like, I just wanted all the business I could get. Now it's like you can stop it in the tracks before it even gets to that point.
Yeah.
Because you recognize it a lot quicker.
Absolutely. And being able to catch that is so important.
Actually,
so I love this. Let's bring this back to, let's say like a new agent watching. What would be some advice that you'd give Maddie to help somebody navigate those experiences, or what advice would you just generally give when it comes to working with clients as a new agent? Do you think that experience that you did, like maybe sometimes when people aren't even looking for houses, but now you're still getting to go through homes?
Yeah.
Do you think there was still some good to come of that because now you get to see more and kind of like experience more and learn these things? Or
I do, yeah. I think everything happens for a reason. I think if I didn't go through these things, I wouldn't have learned what I needed to learn to get me to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I would have gone about anything differently at the time, but now that I have experienced it and know how to navigate it differently. At the start, I probably wouldn't have given people so much of my time right from the beginning, because the second that you start to give people your time and it seems like you will always drop anything and everything for them, they will take advantage of that.
100%.
If you're nice, people take advantage of your niceness. It's very easy to tell when somebody's nice and genuine, and people do take advantage of that.
Yep.
So like even like for me, like as a Christian, like in a biblical standpoint, you're supposed to be a nice and genuine and loving person. Sometimes you get stuck in a place where you don't really know how to be like assertive without coming off as like this mean person.
Right.
So I think for me at like the beginning, for sure, I was getting walked on very often. I was allowing people to treat me in a specific manner that I probably wouldn't allow if it was one of my close friends, because I was comfortable being that assertive person with them. And even just recently, I'm just getting to the point now where I'm actually like setting up a boundary.
Exactly.
And that's like 3 years in the business that I'm actually getting to a point where like I set boundaries and I become a little bit of assertive when I know that I know what I'm talking about, or I'm not going to put up with the way that somebody's treating me possibly.
Yep.
So
100%.
I would say like my biggest advice is to learn that from the very beginning, because people will perceive you a certain way, and it's hard to change that perception once somebody already has that perception of you that you're too nice.
It's funny how that works, eh? It's funny how that works. And then when you try to draw that boundary, once you realize it yourself and you catch it, and then now you try to draw a boundary, and now there's an immense amount of friction between you and that other person that's been crossing that boundary that maybe you didn't have before, but now you set.
Yeah. Because then it seems like you're coming out of nowhere with this random boundary.
Right. Why was this allowed before, but it's not allowed now?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, because this behavior can't continue.
Yes.
Because this is not sustainable for a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And that's a very good point. Because I know I had some people too that just like, it just seemed like they just wanted to look at homes. It just seemed like lonely individuals sometimes.
Yeah, we worked with somebody.
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what?
But I don't regret it, because I saw lots of homes and I was new at the time.
Me too.
So it was great. But I do also think like when you're first getting started, if you are a new agent, I think that it's great that you can even like I booked showings just for myself when I first started to just go see the house. Like the markets were pretty busy at the time because I got in 2022, I think. Okay. So it was kind of like the height of the COVID market.
Yeah. You come right into the friggin' thick of it right there.
Yeah. I would just message agents and I would just say, I'm actually just coming to take a look for myself. Or I would sometimes say I was looking for a client, but I was just going to get to know like the structure of a home and how to recognize issues, how to recognize water damage. If you're not in homes, because in the real estate business, you learn stuff about real estate when you're taking your course, but you really don't know anything about real estate until you're in it. Like you're selling a house, but how are you supposed to sell a house if you don't know anything about a house?
Yeah, there's a lot you can't learn from a book, right? Yeah. And you have to actually just get out and then take a look at it. Like I remember looking at a house one time, and I would go with other people starting off. So I went to showings with my grandfather, and I went to showings. I try to get as much exposure.
It's important.
Yeah,
to do that.
and I would say, and I would recommend that to any new agent, is just try to get out with as many different agents too, so that you can see how they're showing homes. Take what you like from it and implement it yourself, but make it natural to you. Like I remember I was out showing homes with a agent who took me along, and they were a little shy, and I did most of the talking. Yeah. And they were like, geez, like you're going to be really good at this. And I was like, why? And they're like, you just you just handled that situation really, like just navigated them through the house and just kept talking. Like I've never seen that house before. I dn't know these people.
Sales is a people business.
And then, but like, I'm just kind of like, there's people here that are interested. So I'm just going to talk to them so we can figure out like, what do you think of this kitchen here right now? Like, is this something you're interested in? Like just kind of just trying to actually care about what they are interested in too, and then see what the feedback is that they have, and then realize that, certain buyers have this feedback with this type of kitchen, like, and then you can start to develop patterns of what people are picking up. But then also too, I was going to say, like, I remember the first time I found a house that like the structure was completely off. Like somebody was like, Brendan, look at this house. What's wrong with it? And I was looking at it, and I'm like, and I could tell something was off, but I couldn't tell what. And I'm like, what is it? They're like, stand back further. And then like when you looked at it, it was like crooked, like from the road. There was like, or like the walls were like pushing in. Yeah. And it's like, right. So then so then now every time I get to a showing, I stand back and then I kind of look at the house going like, is there anything I'm seeing right off the bat that's structurally a red flag right off? And then like checking out the things like windows, roofs, foundation, checking all the major components of it right away. Sometimes you see big dips in roofs that could be something concerning. Looking at like the venting, is there venting in there now? And the more that you do it, the more inspections you go through, the more times things that are flagged or caught that you're able to catch on other properties.
Yes.
which is really, really cool. So then like you kind of gather that experience. Also like talking to other people that are like experts in their industry. So like a buddy of mine used to sell windows and he was showing me that like you can find
the date
inside the window pane. And I'm like, geez, you know, I didn't know that. So then, and then you get to educate your clients on this stuff too, which makes you look like a rock star once you know all this.
Yeah. And it's important to even like, I think some agents in this business don't point these things out to their clients because they're not in it for the right reasons. They're not necessarily actually looking out for the best interest of their client, but they're more in it for the sale. And what I tell people is like, sales is a people business. Like if like you can really sell anything if you know how to talk to people. So like with houses, I feel like if you're pointing these things out and you're explaining, like maybe someone will see a crack from a window down to the heater, and they think it's a big structural issue. It's not necessarily always a structural issue. If you explain that to people and you're like, it's the cold from the window and the heat, it's causing a crack. People see these things and automatically they don't know about it. So the more you educate yourself about the issues in a house, you can say, oh, well, that's really actually nothing to worry about.
And the only way that you really get to build that knowledge is through the experience, through going through so many homes, and especially in your area too, and like realizing certain areas have older homes, like Uptown St. John, you know, like that's its own basket of kind of infrastructure, because you're dealing with 100-year-old homes, 100-plus-year-old homes.
Lots of
some
settling.
of the old ones out on the Kingston Peninsula with these like stone foundations that are like, you know, it's not poured concrete. It's literally a rock foundation with a little bit of mortar in between the rock sort of deal. And this house has been sitting there for 150 years.
Yeah, and it's all crooked.
And it's completely crooked. Yeah. And no, exactly. And going through and being able to educate the client on those. Now, so the thing that I have recently been thinking about though is like, I'm like, I don't even feel like a salesperson sometimes.
I don't.
I feel more like almost like a consultant. The only time I do feel sales is when I'm doing my videos.
I don't like being salesy.
I don't love being salesy, but I love selling a property on video. I love finding unique things to say about it.
Yes.
I love finding what makes this home special, regardless, even if it's just a very average home. What can I upsell on this? That is the true value of it, because sometimes it's not what you can see, right? Like a lot of times there's a lifestyle that comes with a home that pictures don't convey, and it's like, what's that lifestyle that we can communicate? The peace and like tranquility of the area, the fact that you're 5 minutes to the city but you feel like you're living out in the country, and then just like what's nearby, what's the neighborhood like, and explaining these things that are intangibles, but also just selling the area, the lifestyle, not just the house. And I find it's even harder on average homes, but it's fun to get creative.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite parts. And that's where I do turn on the sales mode, because I'm going, what do I love about this? But I also talk to the clients and go, what do you love about living here?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure I convey that to any potential buyer, so that we can pass along the reason that you've been here for so long or loved it.
So you go about your business as high ticket sales. Like real estate is a high ticket sales business. Like anything over $3,000 is high ticket sales. So you're not selling the house. You're not like, this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Like, yeah, you might say that, but you're selling the experience and the emotion behind it.
100%.
Because it's 100%. A people business.
But that's what it is too, right? Like after you look at the house once, you're like, oh, I love it for all these reasons. Yeah. But there's a lifestyle that comes with every single home.
Yeah.
And they may be across the street from each other, maybe have a different lifestyle, depending, is one closer to the road? Does one have trail access to that this other one doesn't across the street? So like each one literally does have its own lifestyle that comes with it. And then those are the moments where I'm putting my sales hat on and then kind of having fun with it. And the more you can learn to have fun with this business, the better it gets too.
Yes. And those videos always do extremely well too.
Yeah. It's people have always enjoyed them. People have always, anytime I do them, I'm getting some good feedback saying keep doing those. Yeah. The sellers love it, they appreciate it. And at least this way too, when I'm listing a property, I know that I've done almost everything in my power at this point. Like I'm putting my best step forward. But at the same time, it's so important for us to do that.
It is.
Because in a competitive industry, finding ways to stand out. So then that's kind of been like one of the ways that I want to stand out is I'm like, I'm going to go in and do this like elaborate video, even if it's, you know, a fairly average house. Like one of my favorite ones I just did was 15 Millette, had like an outdated kitchen and stuff, but then I'm going, this kitchen takes me back to a simpler time.
Yeah.
And that just came out on the top of my head. That just came out of the top of my head. This kitchen takes me back to a simpler time. And although the kitchen may not be updated, because it's not like, I'm not faking what it is. I'm like, this kitchen takes me back to a simpler time, although it may not be updated. I was like, rest assured, the main components of this house are such as the roof in the last 3 years, the windows in the last 4 or 5 years, and then spin
like
it into something.
Not hiding the fact that it needs work, but working with the fact
I'm like, people
that
are
it needs
blind.
Work. Yeah.
They can see this is outdated.
Yeah.
They can see that.
Yeah.
If I was to sit here and try to sell this as something it's not, that's disingenuous.
Absolutely.
But it's still finding like a nice energy to put behind it too, right? And I find that's a big thing. So going back to what you were saying earlier, you said the mindset and then also energy in real estate is so important.
Yes, it is.
So I find the energy comes with a good mindset.
Yeah. And people can take and people can give to your energy too, which is also extremely important.
Absolutely.
The biggest thing I notice is from switching from my last brokerage, I was going to say the name, but I'm not going to, from my last brokerage to this brokerage, is like the people around you.
Yeah.
The energy, because we feed off of each other's energy rather than being in a conference room where people are almost pulling from your energy.
Yeah.
We're in a room where we all have higher energy, and so I feel like we think bigger. We strive for more. I feel like almost our whole team is always striving for more, or seeing how we can be better, or bouncing ideas off of each other to grow.
Yeah.
Rather than like sitting with somebody who's not going to give you any advice at all. And like as a 19-year-old coming in the business, not that like I knew coming in I was self-employed. Yeah. So I had no expectations from anybody, but from being 19 years old at my last brokerage and asking questions, some people were willing to help, but you almost felt like some people were like willing to help, but holding things back.
100%, yeah.
Or you were with people who were constantly negatively speaking.
Yeah.
Which was taking from all of the energy you need to put into your work.
100%. Yeah. Like you should not go to a sales meeting and leave with less energy than you walked in.
No, you should
That's not a productive sales meeting.
No.
If people are leaving feeling less or feeling like they have less energy or just feeling going like, oh, geez, I'm glad that's done.
I wish I didn't
Now
go.
I can get on with my day. Like, it's like, that's not at all how you should feel. You want to leave going, geez, I'm ready to crush it. I'm ready to go out there and make some calls or do whatever.
Yeah.
And that was one of the biggest things coming over to the Wolfpack that I loved is the fact that they talked about mindset.
Yeah.
And the priority that they put on having a positive mindset and how so many calls are orientated around getting your mindset right, because they realize that you can have all of the skills down pat, but if your mindset is wrong when you're going, so let's say that you're super good at door knocking, super good at cold calling, but your mindset's not good, you're going to have less success than if your mindset was good. And you were bad at it. You'll have less success. Like, it's like just having a bad mindset of maybe even going like, oh, this isn't going to work today, but my broker said I have to do it, so I'm going to go and do it.
Yeah.
It's
Instead
like,
of shifting it and being like, I'm not really feeling like going out today, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to kill it.
And I'm going to kill it.
I'm going to talk to so many people.
And even if somebody doesn't want to buy or sell, at least I'm going to make some relationships.
Yes.
I'm going to make an impact in someone's day. I want to make someone smile today.
Yes.
I want to make someone smile.
And you make one person smile and you feel like you won.
At the bare minimum, I just want to, even just, and that's something I always try to do as well. It's like, just get someone laughing too, right? Like, let's have a good time. That's something that I'm very big on, is like keep a morale high. I really like, and that's another thing I learned in the military is morale. I was like, what is that word? But it's just like, it's like the energy of the collective, right? How is everybody's morale doing?
Yeah.
And there's times where your morale can be in the absolute dumps. Let's say you've been out in the field for, 3 weeks and it's been raining nonstop and you've been eating rations and you friggin' have not slept and it's just a bag drive. And it's like, morale is low. We need to find something to pick up the spirit of the troops, because once morale drops, then work slows down.
Yeah.
Then people aren't as productive and negative and spiral. So you need to lift that back up real quick to keep everything kind of like on track. Or you just kind of say that, the beatings will continue until morale improves, which is just an ever cycle downwards.
Yeah. Well,
The beatings will continue until morale improves, which it's like that's not how anything works.
No, and it's so important to you were young in the military, weren't you?
Yeah. I was 16 when I joined.
Okay.
And
Wow.
then, so 16 till about like, I formally got out, just 2 years ago now. So it was like 16 to, I think I did 14 years on paper.
Just 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't even known that you were in it for that long.
Yeah, like I was just hanging on, but I was like, I would just go to like 1 or 2 weekends. I'd just go to the ranges.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so my last time to the range was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's like, it's important that you learned those things at such a young age. And I think that that's a lot of people my age lack, like the power of tongue is extremely, extremely important to know, because I think that people don't realize if you're speaking something into your life, I think everybody gets sad and everybody gets depressed, but if you're constantly speaking about how depressed you are and you're constantly thinking about how depressed you are, how do you expect to ever overcome that depression?
I agree.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult, but you need to catch your thoughts captive and you need to shift the thought. So if you're like, oh, I'm having such a bad day today, maybe my day started off bad, but I'm going to go and I'm going to change it. It's like that shift is extremely important for people to understand and to learn at a young age. Some people don't learn that till they're like
Some people don't learn it ever,
their whole life,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
it's so true. So I'm glad you're talking about that, because I just got finished reading a book for the second time, one of my favorite books. It's called The Four Agreements.
Okay, I've never read that one.
And the very first agreement is, so the four agreements were written by a Toltec tribe who are pretty well like the ancient like wisdoms of this culture.
Okay.
And they passed down these four agreements to help keep the wisdom in that tribe.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly where they're from, but they're called the Toltecs.
Yeah.
And the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. Because what we say is putting a spell into the world. So if we say something, it's actually casting an energy out there.
Well, you're changing your sound vibrations, which is changing everything around
so if you speak poorly about yourself, you're going to feel worse.
Yeah.
If you speak highly of yourself, then you're going to feel better.
Yes.
And if you're being authentic, then you vibrate from the highest vibrational frequency.
Yeah.
So then there's being impeccable with your word and just realizing that your word holds weight. So what you say, and then doing what you say is very important. So making sure that you stick to your word, and that what we say is contracts that we're making with people as well.
Yeah. And that's discipline part of discipline.
Being impeccable. And then impeccable too is a very important word to even describe it. So it's like being purposeful, being meaningful, being intentful with what you're saying, and not just speaking to say things, not just speaking to hear yourself or to maybe say what somebody wants you to hear. Being impeccable with your word also means like telling the truth too, right? Speaking truthfully. So then you're operating at a truthful frequency as well, which I think is extremely important.
I think so too.
So then so that's the first one. And then there's never make assumptions, which I absolutely love, because a lot of times us as humans, we make assumptions based on everything in life. Like if somebody does something, or maybe we're assuming somebody should know something about us.
I was just going to say like expectations.
Right, exactly. Assuming and then expecting, right? So say somebody does something, and then you're like, geez, she should know that I don't like when someone says that to me. Like, but it's like, nobody knows. How are they supposed to know if you don't tell them? Nobody knows. Right. Yeah. So then that goes back to being impeccable with your word. If there's something that you don't enjoy, then you guys need to communicate that out. Making assumptions like, if I do this for this person, then they're going to do this for me. Yeah. Well, that's an assumption. That's an assumption on one side, and that's going to cause some argument or some friction down the road.
Yeah.
So it's like, never assume. You need to like communicate things out. You should never make assumptions. Things should be communicated.
I agree, because it opens up an opportunity for disappointment.
Absolutely.
Because if you're expecting people to treat you the same way that you treat them, you're going to be highly disappointed, because that's just not how the world works.
That's not how the world works at all. And then there's be impeccable with your forward, never make assumptions. Don't take anything personally. I love this one. Don't take anything personally. A lot of times, if somebody comes up in our life and they're spewing negativity onto us, or let's say there's a mean comment online in our industry, like someone saying something just hateful or meaning, or like mean towards us. Don't take it personally, because it's like that person, in order to spew poison at you, is in a really bad spot. And there's some times where I've gone through the day. I try not to do this as much as possible, but I know there's been maybe a couple times I can count back to right now where I'm going, I wasn't as nice to that person as I normally am because I was in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Just because there was something going on in my life at the time, I let that flash onto how I interacted with that person.
And that's a real thing, but you reflected on it and you recognized it.
Right. And then I'm like, that person didn't deserve, and it wasn't even like, it was probably like a guy I see at the gym that I normally nod, wave to and say, how you doing?
You didn't talk to him that day.
And then that day he nodded to me and I just went like, and just kept walking. Like almost ghosted him. Yeah. Little acknowledgement, like, not feeling it today. Yeah. But then I'm going, that guy doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve that just because I was in a bad mood, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So then not taking anything personally, knowing that if people are coming at us and spewing poison, normally they're in a bad spot.
It's coming from them.
And it's more of a reflection on them. But then also think about it in reverse. When you're feeling really good, you're going around, you're passing flowers to everybody. Yes. You want, and then you're trying to lift everybody up. It's because you feel good.
Yes.
So it's like, but also don't take that personally. They're just saying that because they feel good.
Yes.
Right? So it's like, don't take that too personally either, because you can get full of yourself going, geez, they're really bumping me up here right now. So it's like, don't take any of it personally because it's all just a reflection of where everybody else is at. Yes. It's better to be around the people that are lifting you up. So maybe surround yourself with that type of individual. Yeah. But also just don't take it personally too, right? So I'm like, is that ever nice? And then the last one is always do your best.
Yeah,
I find with those 4 rules, anytime I read that book, it's probably about, like, it's just a thin little book. It's a very quick read. But anytime I read it, I feel like I'm dropping a book bag. Just like a load I've been carrying, I feel like I'm just dropping it, going, I don't need to carry that. I don't need to carry that.
Sometimes you forget that.
Like I could read that book once a year. Yeah.
Well, like everything you just explained is in like what I read in the Bible. And it's like, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. Somebody could treat you so disrespectfully, and to treat them back with love rather than with the exact same energy that they just gave you almost even makes them reflect more on themselves and be like, okay, well, they clearly didn't deserve that. They treated me with nothing but respect back. It helps them almost to recognize where they're at and what they need to adjust and work on, rather than responding back with anger, because then automatically you're part of the problem.
Right. And now you're being drugged down into their frequency.
Yes. And you're allowing it to affect you.
Yeah.
And that's part of not taking it personally.
And another thing I find is when we do all these things, then we start to vibrate at a higher frequency, then our energy's better. And when our energy ends up being better, I actually find we get more business. Business seems to gravitate towards us when our energy's better, as opposed to having a negative energy. And it all goes back to the mindset, because it's like what you think is going to end up navigating how you feel, right? So if you're thinking a whole bunch of negative things, then you start to feel negative. But if you're thinking positive things, and then that's where the power of thought is so important. It sounds corny and hokey, but it is so true, because it all literally stems from the way that we think. And we can change the pattern of how we think. Because I grew up with a fairly negative mindset, like coming from trades and from like the military. You can have a little bit of like, it's just, I don't know if it's a opportunist mindset. I don't think it is. So then, but I've had to learn that. I had to switch my brain, shift it, and then start to find the patterns of opportunity.
Me too.
And then the more that you do that, the more your subconscious starts to align and help you find those.
Yes.
And it's so crazy, because then it starts helping you connect dots in your brain that you may not have connected beforehand. And it's actually like listening and caring and going, am I able to provide a solution to what this person's saying? Are they even looking for a solution? Maybe they're just venting to me here right now, and I just need to be an ear for them to listen to. Yes. And then trying to figure all this kind of stuff out, and it's it's so fascinating. But the energy is huge, and I find, going back to what you said, is like the Wolfpack has helped that, has helped have a very good starting line to do good at. We have all the skills. We teach everything. There's the social media skills. There's you can learn door knocking, cold calling. You can learn absolutely anything if there's any way that you want to get good at getting business. But they know that if your mindset's not right, and that's why
I love that that's where they begin.
that's where they begin on every lesson.
That's not
even on the
something
even on the YouTube education, there's about an hour of content just on mindset before you even get started, making sure that your mindset's right going in, because they
Because if
realize
your
how important
mindset's
that
not
is.
right going in, you're almost setting yourself up for failure.
100%.
And you're going to have times where your mindset fails you, like where you maybe fall short, but your mindset is the most important thing in your whole life, I think.
It is.
Like you're constantly thinking in there.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
constantly thinking.
Yep.
I mean, I am
Yeah.
I think about every situation ever.
Yep.
If you're able to compartmentalize your thoughts a little bit better rather than having all these thoughts at once, you're actually able to go about life in a different, more peaceful manner.
Right. And then when you can kind of calm your thoughts and then almost be present in the moment too,
Yes.
those are where I feel the best.
Yes.
When I'm not bogged down with a whole bunch of other things in my mind, and I'm sitting and I'm having a conversation with, just like we're doing on the podcast here right now, sitting and then just being calm and not having a whole bunch of things that I'm worrying about. But this is where, going back to keeping your energy good, for me, I need to go to the gym to maintain that energy, because it can build up. It'll build up into something that it's not. If I don't go to the gym for 5 days straight, I start to get an immense amount of it would be anxiety, I suppose. It's anxiety that I feel like people are mad at me. I start to feel like the world is upset, or if the phone rings, I'm like, oh geez, this is it. It's all about to blow up. But it's all just my energy making me feel that way. And then I'll go work out and I go, that was all just inside me. Everything's fine. There's birds chirping. There's people going by. Nobody cares about what I'm doing. Nobody's upset at me. Everybody's caught up in their own world. And then I feel way better to go about my day.
Because we live in a world full of distractions now. So for people to be able to ease their mind is very unheard of. I didn't experience being able to ease my mind until this past year. I thought that your mind was racing at all times, that you couldn't stop it, that you never had no thoughts. I thought you were thinking all the time. And that's because we live in a world full of distractions.
Yeah.
If you're bored, what do?
Social
you pick
media.
up your phone
Absolutely.
and you start swiping.
And you just scroll and you scroll, and then you have everybody's access to you 24/7. So then that's a little bit of going back to your point about boundaries. We shouldn't be accessible 24/7.
No.
To certain people, if we want to be, but that's an
friends,
unrealistic,
family.
Right? Exactly. That's an
Not
unrealistic
work.
expectation on anybody to be like, hey, you have a cell phone, so you should answer all of my calls.
Yes.
And it's we also have lives as well. We may be out at dinner. Am I going to return people's calls? Absolutely.
Even at the gym.
Absolutely right. But that's something I've had to learn from my own balance and boundaries in my business.
Me too.
Is I treat the gym as an appointment. So I'll have it in the calendar, and if I'm going to work out, I don't answer the phone unless
Phone's
there's
on Do Not
something
Disturb.
pressing that I'm expecting going.
You have to pick it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Every once in a while I've been on calls at the gym, but normally I try to make a point to say that I'm going to go and I'm going to work out, and
Because that's also time for yourself.
and the world doesn't stop spinning if you miss a phone call. That's the thing that we need to realize.
No.
We're going to get back to it in an hour, and it's the same. It's the same. And that,
And what's an hour?
Especially after 4:00, lawyers, banks, all these places are closed. So it's we can't even really get a real answer for people. All we can do is be emotional support at that time.
Yeah.
Which, after 8 p.m., that's all anybody is on a phone with anybody, is just emotional support.
Yeah. I don't pick up my phone for work after 7:30, 8 o'clock, unless it's urgent.
Right.
And that was a boundary I had to set as well. I did not do that at the start.
100%. And for anybody listening, they might go geez, so then you're missing out on business? It's no, what we're trying to do is actually prolong our career by setting boundaries, so we're not going to burn ourselves out.
Yeah.
So it's we need to take care of it 100%, especially in this business, because we can take on so much from other people. And I've experienced waves of burnout in this business where I'm just on cloud 9, where everything's going great, and then there's times where things are still going great, but I'm burned out. It doesn't feel like they're going great for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going, geez.
Do you find you lack with yourself when
there's
you're
been times
burnt
where
out?
I've just,
you're not going to the gym as
I've just
much?
felt like a shell of myself, going I can't even think properly right now. And it's this weird thing that lingers for a while, but I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better at navigating that. And I find the more highs and lows that you have, you kind of know what the triggers are. You can then start to see the warning signs coming up, going, okay, maybe I need to take a little bit back for me, fill my cup up a little bit here right now. Because a lot of times I will put business as the main priority for everything, right?
Yes.
For so long. And then my body will start to give me like warning signs going like, hey, like you need to take care of yourself. You need to start taking care of some things around you that may have been missing, that you're not paying attention to right now because you're putting too much focus on the business.
Yeah. Even this past week, like I would say I reached a point where I was like I felt like decision paralysis, I would say. Like I knew I had things to do, couldn't figure out what to start with. And I was realizing I was extremely, extremely overwhelmed, but I was waking up the next day and I was trying to get the work done that I knew I needed to get done. And I was like, I need to like get up, go to the gym, eat better, watch things that encourage me, and
that's another big one. Yes.
And stop watching the news and things on my, like, once you recognize that like literally what you feed yourself is extremely important physically, mentally, like in all spiritually, like you need to feed
and then feeding your
yourself.
Brain too with what you're watching, listening to,
and that makes a bigger impact than people even think.
Absolutely. It's like people just look at things and don't expect it to affect the way that they feel.
Yeah. And then they're like negative the rest of the day and they have no idea why.
I don't even like watching a scary movie.
No.
I'm like, I don't want that in my life. Like,
no.
And like, I don't like stuff like that, but it's, being cognizant of that. So what we put in our body for food. So if we're just eating a bunch of junk, we're going to feel like shit.
Well, sugar makes you tired.
Right. And if we're watching a bunch of junk, let's say it's just, stuff that doesn't fuel you. But then for everybody it's different, right? For everybody it's different because like some people might really love politics or something and they're watching like that and that like actually fuels them. Maybe because they want to be a politician or something. So like for everybody it's different. Find your own thing, but like just be cognizant of there's things out there that probably are making you feel worse just because you're sitting there watching it and you may not even be understanding why you're feeling worse, but it's what you're consuming visually, audibly into your brain. It's feeding your brain a certain thing that's making you not feel good or feel good. I love watching business content. I love watching podcasts.
Me too.
I love watching stuff like that. Super encouraging. Watch optimistic people. I love watching people go out and hunt. That's very grounding for me. I like people that like run, exercise, people that are taking care of themselves, people that are like good, people in their communities, good parents, fathers kind of deal, right?
Yeah, like leaders,
right? Right. It's like I like watching that stuff. Those are the people that I want to subscribe to. I want to subscribe to like successful business people that are inspiring, that are putting good content out there, thought-provoking,
that take care of their body,
that take care of their bodies, their family, their friends. It's like their business, all those things, and then finding those, and then literally tailoring my algorithm to that. Now it gets a little bit harder now because the algorithms are so crazy.
I've been hitting not interested on a lot of the videos that show up. If it's not Pilates, Christian content.
Unfollow people. Like if there's somebody that you see that spikes something in you, just unfollow it. Stop. It's not worth it.
No,
it's not worth it. Don't engage. Don't comment.
You're
don't
not
say
hurting
anything.
anybody's feelings.
Just unfollow. It's our lives. Having control, right? So then creating a life that we actually want to be part of as opposed to something that like stresses us out, I think is super, super important.
Super important. Yeah. I'm trying to think of eXp. We've been talking a lot about like mindset.
Yeah. And normally I'm asking questions, but we're just riffing right now.
I know. Do you want to ask questions?
No, it's all good.
Because I don't even remember where I was going with that.
Well, I think normally the questions I would even ask, we've already answered in a indirect way. Like, I would say like, how have you found the Wolfpack? But you've already kind of explained like the mindset and how like coming over here has been such a shift. So I'm like, okay, well, there's that question already done right there.
Yeah, true.
And then like, what are some things that's worked well for you? Well, you answered that because it's like the mindset is super important. Having a positive mindset, doing all these things, and then being aware of how our energy affects our business. I think that's
because we talked about feeding ourselves first before the business. Yeah.
This was an awesome first time having you in. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Every time we do talk, I know that we've said we should have it on a podcast.
We should have a mic every time we talk.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversations like this.
At the gym mostly.
And the fact that you understand all this is super cool too at your age. I don't think I did when I was, how old are you?
23.
23. Yeah, when I was 23, I didn't have a good understanding of any of this stuff. It's more so been the last 5 years for me that I've really kind of like started to figure out my mindset a little bit more. I never realized It was almost just like there was a horse up there just kicking. And sometimes the horse was calm and sometimes it wasn't. And I had no control over it. But now I'm kind of like learning how to deal with the horse up there. Like,
well, you
hey,
almost got to realize you're struggling.
You know, he needs a little fucking love up there.
Yeah.
I need to but then just and then the more life that you have, the easier it gets to kind of like manage some of the stuff. And for me, just certain things, good habits, exercising, eating properly, staying away from,
that's probably one of the most
from things like drinking too much. Like I just went out for the first time all year and I had a couple drinks on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I felt horrible on Sunday.
Yeah.
Felt horrible.
And it makes you almost regret doing
well,
it.
I'm like, why did I do that? I was on a 3-month streak of not drinking but just for that military function because that's kind of like part of the military culture.
Yeah.
So I went out and had some drinks and I'm like, I felt fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I felt horrible.
But you got to do it to like even...
just to remind yourself.
Yeah, to be like, okay,
I'm
this
not even
is
sure if I'm
why
going
I
to drink
don't
when I
do
go to
that.
the conference in Vancouver. I don't know if I'm going to drink. I probably won't. A, because I have to be a speaker.
Yeah.
And I know what that does to my brain and it just makes it sluggish and I don't think anybody deserves that.
Puts you at a lower vibration.
100% it does. Yeah. Oh, geez. Probably
for a couple days.
It's like the lowest vibration. Lowest vibration.
Yeah.
So, but that's so important though. I think we hit some critical points here today. This is going to be some really good clips.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And if you enjoyed this, if anybody's still watching at this point, first of all, thank you.
Thanks for sticking around this long.
Thank you so much. And subscribe, follow. This will be on Spotify, iTunes. The video's going to be on YouTube. And Port City Pods will keep on rolling. We'll probably have Madisyn back in again and looking forward to that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and have a great day.